Greetings, Dr. Jeffrey Scott, and this is my Market MRI Pro update for, God, it's only Wednesday, no way, for Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. This week has been an interesting week, to put it lightly. I can't believe it's only Wednesday. Today was a rally day, big time rally day. Um, Nice day in the U.S. markets. And it's funny, I'm listening to all these comments about follow through days and have we bottomed? And do bottoms actually form at tops? Because we're like 3, 4, 5% today off of our all-time highs on the major U.S. markets. We're not even in correction territory. We're in normal ebb and flow, and we're all jumping out of windows and worrying about follow-through days. I guess it's really a symptom of the choppiness at the all-time highs and the massive rotation where things like IGV look like they're in a bear market, but they're recovering. Yet the indexes are pretty much going sideways. Well, we're going to go into great detail. Again, my name is Dr. Jeffrey Scott, marketmripro at gmail.com. My Google group is Top Down Trader, and my website is marketmripro.com. This is for educational purposes only. Anything I talk about should be taken in the spirit of education and not investment advice. The intent of the video is to demonstrate the tools of top-down analysis, how I apply them. Trading involves risk. You are solely responsible for any investment decisions you make. I may own or intend to buy or sell any stock mentioned in this report. Trading stocks and options should be considered risky, and you should always consult with your financial advisors. And I have tools in multiple platforms, but I usually use the Market MRI Pro app because it's fast to do the videos, and all my layouts, all the things that I like to do, load at the same time. My Google group is called Top Down Trader. All you got to do is go to Google Groups, go to all groups, find Top Down Trader, let us know how to contact you. And really all you're doing is you're signing up to my mailing list. I'll give you discounts on software, discounts to my live meetings. I'll give you some invites to education that I don't share everywhere. And often when I do the more massive education, I don't put the PowerPoints everywhere, but I put them in Top Down Trader. And it's free. Why not? Know your news and earnings. So let's see. We got through the ADP employment today, which was a little bit strong. I think that's okay. Um, Thursday we got jobless claims, productivity for Q4 and import prices, and then Friday we got the big one, the monthly employment. What else we got on Thursday? We got Kroger, JD.com, Victoria's Secret, Burlington. I think came. Well, no, actually, it wasn't Burlington. It was the other Ross stores that really had blowout and did a great response. Let me tell you about the markets right now. After hours, I looked an hour ago, they were green, but they're not green anymore. The Dow's down 150 points, and Nasdaq's down about 60. S&P's down 15, Russell's down 12, gold is up 57. It's really hard to make a lot of commitments at 9:30 Eastern Time PM on the futures, which are going to be all over the place before we wake up and seem to have an ebb and flow. And we think about the distance between here and Iran and the time zones. Overnight's going to occur their day, and we'll wake up and see if it's good news or bad news that comes out of it. So a lot of different things going on. On the earnings side, the big winner, or the well, not the biggest winner, but Broadcom was up 5.1% on earnings and an upbeat AI commentary. ALTO was up 27%, and AGE was up 24%, both higher on earnings. SES down 22%, Go down 22%, StubHub down about 12%, all on earnings. So mixed earnings report. And as we see here on Thursday, Sienna early, that's been a great mover of late. Victoria's Secret, and then in the afternoon, Marvell. But I think the big one there is Costco, and then IoT, Samsara. So judgment call to hold stocks over earnings dates, bad judgment to not know when your stock's earnings date is scheduled. Any questions about the software, who I am, what I do, what it costs, sites to go learn from, just email me at marketmripro@gmail.com. And if you have the software and having any technical difficulties, especially around setting it up, just reach out to Praveen at coding@marketmripro.com. Looks like we've got a date for Florida, and more information to follow, but it's going to be the first Thursday and Friday in in when November, and I'll be doing a joint meeting, 2-day meeting with John Person. More info to follow from both his camp and mine. Um, I'm toying with the idea of having one more day on Saturday for those that want to come to a follow-up session, and because I'm not sure I can cover all that I want to cover in those 2 days. But you can start looking at your calendar for November. I think it's 4th and 5th. It's a Thursday and Friday in November the 1st. All right, let's look how the market did today. Bitcoin roaring up 7%. Q's up 1.5, Russell up 0.97, Spider 0.7, Diamonds 0.46. So all the major indices were up, and you could see all of them, including Bitcoin, finishing near the highs of their session. Dollar gave back 0.18%, and the volatility was down 3%. We flipped to positive, but still double digits on the NYSE 52-week new high minus new lows, and positive on the NASDAQ. We just need more new highs. From a participation, we see a flip-flop from yesterday, and blue and green represent today, meaning Wednesday. The gray represents Tuesday, and you could see 3 different indices. If you look at sectors, a big turnaround day, same as industry groups. 58% of the S&P 1500 is up, 66% of the NASDAQ, and 62% of the NYSE. So a strong day in the U.S. markets. If we look at leadership and we look at one-day change using the S&P 500 sectors, discretionary tech and communications, data centers feel like they must be back. And if you look at the laggards, staples, energy, materials, real estate. If you look at themes, you got blockchain, you've got clean tech, cannabis, fintech, biotech, artificial intelligence, genomics and biotech, semis, tech, software, data centers up 1.68%. If you look at what the laggards were in the day, there weren't many. Home construction and MLPs, too. I guess they're probably both related to interest rates, but as the rates go up, when the market seems to be stable, because it falls when the market has a bad day, that probably makes it a little bit tougher on the builders. If we go to our timing model, it was an interesting story today. If we start here looking at the dailies, everything, um, well, yesterday all were in a sell. Today, the Qs actually flipped to a buy signal. Interesting, to put it mildly. Um, so you got 3 short-termers that still say sell, all of which had big positive days today, and maybe that's the beginning of something. We'll have to see. And if you look at the weeklies, you could see we're still in a long-term buy on the spiders, the Russell, and the diamonds, and the Qs are getting close. Now, my comment about do bottoms form at tops. This is a bottom. This is a correction. We are just off at tops. If anything, we are in a topping formation. So I don't expect rallies to take out the prior highs. I think we are in a topping scenario. Doesn't mean we can't have nice rallies. I'm just not in the camp that thinks we're going to rally to new highs and beyond. I think that this is a topping scenario. And we haven't rolled over all the way yet. And that's why the comment do bottoms form at tops. No, they don't. If we look at the US index ETF, so if I have to put my thoughts on the market, at least short term, it feels like we're going higher. Of course, the futures are not my friend here, but that's what it looks like to me. If we look at the indexes, we've got pretty good support at that purple line, which is the 100-day SMA. We knifed through it, closed right below it on Tuesday, and now we're right below the 17 and the 21 EMA and right below the 50. I'd feel much better if the SPY trades above those. So again, looks to me like we're rolling over in a topping scenario. Still have some negative seasonality, so I don't think we're done going down. Maybe we'll get a further respite. The Qs, I'll say the same exact thing. We're just off the top. If anything, it feels like we're going sideways here. If we look at where we're at today, you could see that we closed above the 17, we're above the 200, we're below the 21 EMA, and we're below the 50. A nice move to get us above here. I'll feel a lot better, and you can see we're about to go into a better seasonality. We look at the diamonds. Again, not far off the all-time highs. Pulled down into the 100 and rebounded. Had a decent day today. And now the question is, can it get back above the 50, the 21E, and the 17 simple? And then lastly, the Russell, which is also not far off of its all-time highs, probably looks the best because it's above the 50 here. It's got a little work to get above that 21 and the 17, but another strong day it gets us there. And I do think we're burning through the bad seasonality time. So in another week or so, the wind starts to come to our back, not in our face. You'd want to see volatility can't come down, just like you had here and like you had here. And today you had a big down day on volatility. This is the VIX futures were down 10.27. You like to see that. What you don't like is the fact that we have got this trend line living down here, which doesn't make any sense to me if the market's going to recover. And I want to get the VIX down to here. So maybe we're in the beginning of the end, but we shall see. And then the dollar, which will rally when the market's selling off, as a safe haven. You can see the dollar, which popped up. I just want to share with you how far off the highs the dollar is. So don't get too alarmed. The dollar was actually down today. We'll see if the 200 and the 100 can hold. It has not in the recent past. If we look at the commodities today and we blow them up, gold, kind of in a trading range, was up a little bit today, 0.78. I think it was 0.78. Silver, same thing, although they're struggling here at the 100 and the 50 area, actually at the 50 area and the 17 and the 21-day EMA. I expect it to consolidate here. Net, it was up less than 1%. Oil, I think oil is going to whipsaw around until we figure out what's going on with Iran. As Iran risk goes up, the Straits of Hormuz are being closed, oil will go higher. If the risk is coming off and we're pumping oil and shipping it through the straits, oil's coming down. So oil's risky here. May still go higher, but I think there's this big component of war risk built in that goes away if there's a settlement. Natural gas has come off its highs to try a small rally there. And then the 10-year and 30-year kind of inside bar dojis today. This is the 10-year. It was up 0.77. Back above 4%, and this is the 30-year, which is not a doji, and was up 0.43%. But both of the 10-year and the 30 are considerably off their highs. Supporting evidence, the buckets tell us we're less extended to the downside than yesterday, period. Market breadth shows you, again, we're not far off the high on the NYSE, and we're not far off the high on the NASDAQ. Both of them rallied today. Big difference. We're above the 50 on the NYSE. We're below on the NASDAQ, so that's a bit concerning. Both of them have confirmed Hindenburg Omen signals at play here. Now, you may have already gotten the sell-off predicted here, but we've got fresh ones occurring on the NYSE. And today, we got green, new high, new lows, AD lines, and up-down volume. And notice the massive increase in the 13-week new high, new low, where yesterday, let's go to yesterday here. Yesterday, it was not points, it was 0.32, and today it's 0.72, massive rally there. And it on the NASDAQ composite yesterday, it was 18, and it's rallied all the way to 51. So we were oversold, short-term oversold. That's why I like it. Not surprised it bounced, and that signal's no longer in play. There's no more pressure to bring it higher. Ratio charts, Bitcoin showing a little bit of short-term strength. Materials easing a bit. Communication super strong. Energy super strong. Staples easing a little bit here as more risk came into the market. Technology perhaps waking up. Industrials a little softer today. Financial still weak. Real estate looks good. Utilities look good. Healthcare came off the highs, and discretionary is trying to come off the bottom but has been weak. If we look at the larger market breadth and just focus here, zero point 0.8 on the spiders, 0.8 on the S&P 1500, 0.53 on the 13-week new high, new low on the NASDAQ, and zero point 0.7 on the Russell. They bounced. We're out of, I won't say danger, but we're out of an area where we would look for a bounce to go higher. If we look at the sectors just very quickly, see if there's any improvement or deterioration. Yes, Bitcoin's not a sector, but I have 12 charts, so I add it. Bitcoin starting to move, got above the 30 period, enough to give it a buy signal on the daily. I'm still going to have to get above the 50. High likelihood of failure there, but improved. Technology trying to get back above the 30 period WMA. Better today, not out of the woods. Discretionary, I'd say the exact same thing. Communication, is it getting ready to break out here? Kind of like where it's at, improving. Industrial still looks great, went sideways. Is it ready for the next leg up? Financials trying, but still well below the yellow line or the 30 period WMA. Energy giving us a short-term pullback, has not broken down yet. We'll have to watch that. Materials did break down, now struggling at prior support. Real estate going sideways in a buy mode. This is the kind of thing that often to me resolves higher. Utilities tried pulling all the way back and bounced just off their highs, still look strong. Staples, now this, they don't always bounce, and Staples looks like as risk is coming back into the market, perhaps Staples is pulling back a little bit. This is healthcare just going sideways. And back to Bitcoin. Now let's look at some of our favorite stocks to look at because most of us own them in one of our portfolios, our long-term portfolios for sure. And if you don't, some of these I'd say, what the heck? Why not? So let's start with Amazon, which had a really good day today. I am long Amazon off this area here. Cleared the 30 period WMA. The target now is going to be in the deuce and a quarter area where you might expect it to get some resistance. It's got a big gap to fill up to there, and then another gap above it. I would say Amazon looks really strong here. Apple got to get above these moving averages. Close, no cigar. Same with Google. Meta broke above the timing line, the yellow line. Technically is in a new buy. Meta really did well post earnings, but struggled after earnings. I guess the earnings were here, and then they came down with all the other AI spend, CapEx spending. So this one looks like it's trying to go higher. Netflix, continuing a post failure of the Warner Brothers deal rally. Interesting stuff today about our president buying bonds in Netflix. Tesla, still below the yellow line. It's been a blanket over the stock price. I wouldn't be touching it until it closes above the yellow line. NVIDIA, to me, NVIDIA is just going sideways here, still not down to the bottom of the range. And it'll break out of here eventually, but not yet. All that CapEx is going somewhere. Microsoft looks like it's ready to join the living, breaking above the yellow line, now coming into a buy. I do not have a position there yet. And then LabVIEW, biotech had a nice rally today. I think biotech's a good place to be in. Pharma's pulled back. Let's look at, IGV. IGV is software. This is certainly one that has had a relatively bad 26 with all the fears that the companies here ServiceNow, Palantir, and many others are going to, Salesforce, are going to be replaced by AI, and I think we're realizing that's not the case, and they're rallying. I'd be interested in it up until the 50. That'd be another 8 points, and we'll see. I just this has been resistance. It'll take a lot, I think, to get through that. I mentioned data centers had a good day. You could see they've turned around right at the moving averages. Looks promising if it has follow through. And then we have defense, which I got to believe defense is going to be strong here. And it had a breakout pullback. I think defense still looks good. Someone's got to remake all those missiles. All right, so that is a pretty exhaustive top down from looking at the markets. I think the markets can go higher here. I just don't think that this is higher to go set off like rocket ships and more new highs. I think we go higher into the more recent current new highs, and we'll see if we can get through that, or is that going to be resistance. To the downside, the 200s look kind of juicy underneath. Hopefully we're not on our way there. JS layout, we're going to go quick tonight. There's just multiple ways that you can slice and dice the market. My market is today 3,584 stocks. That equals all the equities that were over in the NASDAQ, NYSE, or Amex that were over $1 and 100,000 shares. Um, and I can look at them from a bottoms up or a top down perspective. From a top down perspective, I typically look at what are the leading um, sectors. And let's just look at tech and communications because those are the big turnarounds. And there's 692 stocks. So now it's like the leading industry groups here. Oh, asset management? How is that tech? Do I have something else? Nope. Technology and communications. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are all the ones that are over 1%. That's 582 stocks. Let's filter them for $5 and 500,000 shares. It's got to be above both of those. Now I got 373. Let's rank them by number of positive impulses. Let's take a look at what we got. SKM, so an international telecom provider. Let's leave the fund design. It pays a dividend of 4.86%. Not much on the way of earnings growth. This is revenue growth. Earnings growth is seeming to come in, but it's kind of uppy and downy. We're about to have about 52 cents versus 65 cents, so that's not a lot of growth. MicroStrategy, I went a different way in the Bitcoin stock space today, but MicroStrategy heavily levered to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts to go higher, so will MicroStrategy. If not, it's going the way of Bitcoin. HiMax Technology, no. Box was on CNBC, kind of a bottom fishing play, but actually broke through the 50. Is the next stop closer to 30? SRAD, Sport Trader Group, so another one of these online betting. Shopify, beaten up. I'm not seeing anything I like here. Quick looks interesting. If I want to know more about their news, I open up the news by clicking up here. So I have the fundamentals, which doesn't show any earnings, and revenue is kind of puny. And I could read about it here if there's anything that was interesting. And earnings are out. Main Street Finance, I believe. You want to know what they do? You put your, it gives you a nice report. Let's turn off the news. We're going to have $1 versus $1, so not a lot of growth. Pays a small dividend, very small dividend. Although I think the math is wrong. I don't. Right now the stock price is 58. I think there may have been a split because 395 dividend is much more closer to 8%, not 0.07%. All right, but it's a big sell-off. Intel, I think it's interesting here, pull back into the 50. It had coming out of a squeeze with momentum, volume, and a gap, relative strength in OBV coming in, and it's not extended. It looks interesting. Uh, CleanSpark, another Bitcoin play. So I might go through the list. Again, I'm not usually buying fallen angels, but bullish is another Bitcoin play that's going to go up if Bitcoin goes higher. Kind of a nice bullish breakout above the 50 with a lot of clear sky ahead above it. APP, a Solenoff stock. Again, one about AI and advertising and replacing some of these companies. It's good if it recovers. Why not here? Just below the 200, not my favorite thing to buy. So one technology stock that I'm surprised is not coming up is one of the stocks I bought today. I couldn't help myself, and I'm looking at quality companies that are giving me great buy points. It's projected at $1.27 versus 96, so at least so it's close to a 30% growth rate, which is not much different than the PE. It has lots of earnings surprises, lots of revenue surprises. And I got to buy AMD at a discount with a John Person high close doji, kind of a Morningstar forming right above the 200. Now, the downside is lots of overhead supply. It's going to have to get through the 21-day EMA, the 17 simple, and then the 50. But I like buying things at good places, and that looked interesting to me. I've talked that I bought let me get the ticker. I did buy a Bitcoin play today. It's underrepresented in my portfolio, which has been a good thing. And I'm not trying to time the bottom in Bitcoin, but I probably listened unintentionally too much to Tom Lee. And Tom Lee was really pushing the daylights out of, let me get the key. Hold on a second. BMNR of this stock. It's a bottom fish. It had momentum in a breakout. It's not extended. The short-term trend turned positive. It is not my typical buy stock. Um, but it was a way to play Bitcoin, blockchain technology company, hosting third-party equipment used in mining of digital assets, primarily Bitcoin, sells mining equipment, and then many of these companies are getting into data center powered as a big opportunity as well. So those are two things I bought today. What surprised me, because I thought, oh man, it was a great day. We're going to have a ton of stocks when we go and we look at the A plus and the A. So we go to the A plus trade, take off filters. Let's just look at the A plus. We had one, and it looks really good. And it's Black Hills. Now, what does Black Hills do? It is electric and natural gas utility. All right, that's good to be in if the markets are going to roll over. It pays a 3.9% dividend. Its forward multiple is calculated 8.65. That's going to vary by reference based upon projected earnings. It's forward. It's going to have 219 going in against $1.87. So that 31 cents on $1.87 is like 1.6, which is 16-17% growth, which is better than its multiple. That's a positive. And if you look at the chart pattern, what you see is, well, you can always look at the news. You have a stock in an uptrend, sideways move to the 50, which is a great place to buy it. A run up, a little bit of a pullback here and breaking out. There's your double momentum, which has been a good thing to buy off of. Relative strength OBV look good. Kind of neutral on the high jump. Daily, weekly bongos are buy. I think this one looks good, and it is something that I'll consider adding to my portfolio tomorrow. But I can't add any more stocks unless I take something away. Now, I often talk about risk and how much money I'm willing to put out there. So let me just tell you about my AMD trade. And AMD, let's pull up the chart. All right, so AMD probably has clear sailing until 218, and then it's going to have to face the music of whether it goes higher or not. So I bought early in the day when I saw what was happening. Here we go. I bought a 190 call. I sold two calls at 230. What's the likelihood of this going to 230 with an April strike? Probably low. And then I bought to protect myself a 240 call. The cost of this trade, get this straight, was $9.40 per contract. So if I bought 15 contracts, it should have cost me a little bit less than $15,000. Let's just say 50, so let's just go back to the dollars. $9.40 was what the trade cost me. What is my maximum return? 190 to 230 is 40, minus 10 to 240 is 30. I got a 3-to-1 potential, 940 versus 30 max. Um, and actually max is more than 30, max is 40, but let's assume it just blows through both of my other two calls, that I end up with 30. So I get a 3-to-1 return. Um, I bought it fairly deep in the money, and that 190 call is just above where that 200 was. So I've got cushion here right now of a little bit of money here. So this is, let me see what the close was. So the close was 202. So if it went out today and didn't go higher, it's worth 12 bucks a contract, and I paid 940, so I make money. If it drops 3 or 4 bucks, I'm still pretty close to break even. So again, it is a relatively low cost trade to control 1,500 shares of AMD with a upside of 30 bucks, 30 to $40, $40 the max, $30 if it exceeds the short and long strike that are out of the money. And that's the kind of trade I like to take. I hope you learned something. Tomorrow I'll be looking at Black Sky. But as I said, I'm going to have to get rid of something because I'm at my limit in positions. I got plenty of net cash because I raised cash last week and earlier in the week. But I'm kind of at my position allowance. Have a great day, and we'll do this again tomorrow. We need to do this live soon. I'll see what my schedule looks like.